Okay. Hello, Cheryl.
Hello, Amanda.
Um, so I think this is just a chat about the offering we are putting together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oops, can you hear me? Oh, my mic. 1 second. Okay. So yeah, I think this is just a chat for us to invite folks and maybe give a little bit of an introduction into the field we're creating for this learning journey that is going to be longer than usual. So, yeah, I have done similar deep dives on the topic of money and power, but I think they were only 3 sessions long, just 3 weeks.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so this is the first time that we're doing something so long that it's many months long, starting in May, ending in October.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So it's really an invitation to bring something that you're working on. It could be something you're sourcing as yeah, something you're creating on your own, or it could be something, mm, anything related with the questions of money and power. So yeah, we were just seeing the 15 participants that registered already, and we were very curious to understand why they decided to join. And I think I wanted to ask you, Cheryl, why, um, like, what pulled you to this exploration? Why this exploration is important to you, and yeah, how are you arriving and what are you bringing to the because you have been doing already a lot of work um,
Mm.
to support individuals who are doing creative things. And we have done together also a few experiments with with raising funds and sharing money. Uh, yeah, so maybe this is also a chance for us to share a little bit of the background and where we come from.
Mm.
And it doesn't mean that necessarily people have to match that background, but it's just maybe um, like a good context. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful. There's a part of me that, like, I noticed wanting to pass you the torch and actually ask you why you started this, insert word. I think the first one was women, money, power, and then it was Venus, money, power, and now it's source, money, power. So I just
Mm,
want to acknowledge that this is a continuation of an existing series, a kind of existing transmission that you've been source keeping. And yeah, I'm invited in by you, really honoring that. Honoring also, yeah, something like the way that you hold field for collective wisdom to unfold. And that there are actually many people who've already participated in these earlier iterations of this work that will continue to inform and almost flow into this one. So just wanting to acknowledge that there's so many streams of experience and wisdom that are flowing into this. And then also, this is a very particular series that you feel called to source.
mm,
So I guess, yeah, maybe to go back to my initial impulse, I kind of want to ask you what
mhm.
inspired you to source this series and yeah, what did it feel like when it showed up for you? And what has been your journey since of following the pulse and the aliveness of the way it wants to take form?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think actually this whole journey started in Brazil. I was hosting groups of women, um, and my intention was to support women, um, again, and similarly in their creative journeys. And also, it was coming from my own need to
Mm,
create a container where I felt like I could develop myself,
mm,
um, and a create a way of living and a way of being professional in the world, like creating a livelihood that
mm,
was my own, in on my own terms. And then I remember doing it in Portuguese, a version of Women, Money, and Power. It was the same name, but in Portuguese.
mm.
And I actually remember even my mother and my sister joining that one. It was in 2020, yeah, the pandemic. And I was doing all sorts of things online. Yeah, many experiments. Um, and I remember, like, I always had this feeling with, like, in these spaces of, because I come from the art of hosting, mostly. That's where my practice started,
Mm,
um, with groups and with, um, yeah, you mentioned collective wisdom. It's a heavy, heavy words, but yeah, I think this is where I started, and I remember feeling like money wasn't really talked about, like,
mm,
in a way that would satisfy my curiosities, my need for clarity. And so I was always curious, okay, but how do you make money out of this? How can I make money? Uh, how do we work with money when trying to do something
mm,
outside the norms, maybe? So I was really clueless. I was just really asking the questions and inviting people to gather around. And then I started reading and trying to find resources, and, like, trying to seek out who are the people talking about this in a way that inspires me. Um, yeah, and I think it's, for women in particular, it is a very different journey. The relationship with money can be so different
mm,
depending how you grow up, depending on your mental models and what you inherited. I inherited a specific model. So it's just very different, I think, for women. And
mm,
yes, and then with collective presencing, I think in a way I found the way, it almost like the media, when the artists find the media, that's how I feel about collective presencing. I feel it's my media,
mm,
the like the way, like, it offers me the colors and the paintbrushes that I get to use to create what I have to create. Um hmm, and yes, and then when I started with Women, Money, and Power, it was just for women, and everyone was so thirsty to join and talk about money, as if we were doing something forbidden almost. It was very funny. And for those first iterations, the two first, there was just a lot of unleashing I remember in participants, like of their aliveness
Mm,
around money, because that's also like a taboo that you like feeling excited about money is considered like bad, or like we're supposed to be neutral and cold with money. But what I saw in those sessions were just a lot of aliveness, and also pain. There was just so much emotion.
mm,
um
mm,
yeah, being expressed, being felt, um grief, fear, anger, joy, just a lot of space for us to feel our feelings. um and now it seems like there is a new opening, and maybe there's an intelligence also in the way I invited different hosts for different versions, because yeah, now I'm inviting you because I think you also hold some uh, wisdom, um, when it comes to generosity, when it comes to mm, trusting and creating relationships of mutual trust, um, which in a way are skills that we probably need to practice more if we want to create new
mm,
economies. I think
mm,
it's a basic thing that we don't really get a chance to practice that much.
mm.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah, feel free to like reflect or comment or ask
Well,
more.
how do you am- how do you relate with being source of this project?
Mm. What comes up is just that it feels natural to me. Like
Mm,
the invitations came through very naturally when they came through.
mm,
And this year it was the same. Like I usually start working on an invitation and I let the invitation tell me what it wants to become. Um yeah. And then yeah, and then I invited you, and I think I was happy you said yes, because I think it needs you this time. So how do I relate with being? Yeah, it just feels natural, and it feels good to like the thing I love about the concept of source and source keeping is how much we respect the
mm,
person who is sourcing, like in each different container I was, where we had the acknowledgement like, oh, this person is ours. It just creates a sense of order, um, and safety that relaxes my nervous system, actually. So I do
mm,
enjoy being in fields where the person that initiated the thing, or the leader, really acknowledges and says, yeah, I'm source, I am doing this. And when someone doesn't acknowledge or says, oh, there's no leader here, there's just a different it's just a different it can create a lot of confusion, actually, and disorientation. That's my experience.
yeah.
Yeah, so I like that you acknowledge also like that the same principle works for you. um yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And it felt also very natural. I mean, I took my own, I was actually offered time in your invitation and I took it. Like I was like, I'm going to take these weeks to really sense in by your deadline, whether it's a true yes or no to co-hosting this with you. And a lot of, my attunement, it isn't me sitting there like writing a pros and cons list or overly, it's more, yeah, kind of allowing it's like the natural wellspring of soul. It's just like there's something about it where it's like, okay, but the water just starts to move this way, then it's a yes, but it takes for me some time to, yeah, like really feel that and then confirm it, and then follow it and reinforce it. And that's how I said yes to this project. Like it really felt like I said yes to your source keeping of the series. I think there was a real admiration for the series. Like I attended the first two, maybe not every session, but there was a real, yeah, it's like I can feel the unique way in which you're holding this topic of money and power. Um, yeah, like in gender and kind of like dynamics between sexes as well around that, but really honoring the unique transmission that comes through bodies of women as well, while not limiting that wisdom to only women. It's like in the second series, men were also invited, and like presumably anyone who's non-binary or fluid, it's like something around like I interpret it as like a more yin, um, receptive, intuitive way of relating with money and power that feels really important right now. Like it feels like, yeah, it almost feels like it's a different kind of, it invites us into a very different kind of being and relating with one another if we're willing to actually be with the kind of like weightiness and work of these subjects. Um, like the way I feel it is almost there's so much in charge in how we relate with money, as you mentioned. It's just like, but if you don't talk about it, like in a lot of, yeah, spaces that maybe foreground more like harmony or safety, then it's still there. It's just outside of the container. And it's the same thing with power and how we're working with source is also, in a way, it's also about working with power. And there's power above, power below, power within, power with power from. I think there's so many ways to relate with power as well. And again, like just talking about it without a lot of, yeah, I was about to say without a lot of fear. I think fear is still allowed. Um, but just like a space where it's okay to touch into it. That feels really alive for me. But then, there's source that is source as in like one who is the source of a project that follows Tom Nixon's work. And then there's also for me, like, and I think we also kind of feel this and through the lineage of collective presencing and kind of spiritual practice, is there's capital S source. It's like source that's kind of synonymous with God or synonymous with spirit, with origin, kind of like the source from which we all come from and we all return, the source from which like anything that's created, it's like this like primal. like womb almost, this creatrix. And that, yeah, I think I just really want to call that in as well. It's like source, capital S source, is what I feel into the middle. Like when I'm practicing collective presencing or when I'm in relationship with another person and then we tune into the middle of our field, it's like where two or more gather, I am there. It's like something like mystery or the divine suddenly shows up. And then power isn't, oh, like between two people or between the people in the field. Power can actually feel more like power in service of what? Like, and how do we step into the power of this field, of this potential, and fully realize it and kind of like fully claim our agency, our creative agency, and calling it into reality. So it's like the power of creation, the power of
Mm.
world building, the power of birthing worlds that we know we want, but don't yet exist. And that's like that's nature power for me as well. It's like the power of a seed bursting from the ground. Like, what is that energy? So that's
Mm.
like all source for me.
Mm. Yes. 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 And I think one difference in terms of design of the container from the first two versions of this, now we are doing like 4 sessions and then we have a pause and then we continue with 5 other sessions. So it's
Mm.
9 in total, and the pause in the middle is designed so you get to experiment with your ideas and like go do something. And just doing can be anything, but it's like intentionally following your impulse, whatever it is. And I want to um allow, like, I'm being vague because I want to allow anyone to see themselves here, because I think we all have potential to create something that is that we
Mm.
really care about. Um, I don't think that I think that's one of the principles of this container. I don't think we have to be special people to connect with the source or do anything. I think, but I do think we all need help. I need help. We need support. Um, in finding alignment with the things we want to create and like discerning right timing. Like maybe, like, for example, I want to buy land and create a huge project, but really, is it really mine to do? Is it right timing? Who do I want to do it with? So these very practical decisions that we need to make when we are sourcing something, like I need help and I don't want to do it alone. So in a way, again, I'm creating the container because I need it, to discern and to find that alignment. Because once, for me, in my experience, once there's like a very clear instruction of, like, you could say coming from source or whatever it comes from, I have no problem following it. And that brings me a lot of peace, actually, when there's like okay, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do until the end of it. um, and now I'm in a phase of my life where I'm trying to listen, like my antennas are up, and I'm trying to listen. What is the thing that wants to be created? And maybe I'm
Mm.
assuming others are in a similar journey. But it's so unique for each person, this
Mm.
experience, this relationship that they have with all this. So this is a space where I'm not going to impose my models.
Hmm.
I just want to create a space where we can learn from each other and really be curious. Like, how do you hold this? How is your experience? Um, what are you creating? Where do you need help? Um, yeah, it's really, I think the key essence is mutual support. And then I think maybe the last thing I wanted to answer, to ask you is I wanted to ask you if you would like to share a little bit of about the Source Keepers Guild. Like, yeah, just where you're at with this project and how it relates to, because I think there's an overlap because it's also about
Hmm.
supporting source
Hmm.
keepers. So I'm curious to hear if you want to share how you are holding this. And yeah, anything you want to share.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to kind of echo back. It's like we it's a practice listening to and from source. I really appreciated just the practice dojo when I where I met you in 2020 of just going to collective presencing every single week for months and months and months, and then initiating sometimes our own deep dives, because we feel that stirring from the middle, from source, and it's like, okay, I really want to initiate this and almost feel bound to the responsibility of seeing it through. Yeah, and so there's the practice of it, and then there's something that in Ria's book, she described, and it really landed with me, something called like a soul's calling. She was describing that the more and more you attune to source or the middle, there's also a clarifying effect on your unique expression, like why you are here in the world. And that alignment that you're describing, there's like the alignment to the project. So this series of events, the Source Keepers Guild, but these are also kind of like, yeah, it's like a skin that the deep soul vow that one is actually truly aligned with is taking on in the moment. Or like a fruiting body, like a mushroom that comes out of the ground, but it kind of returns to the ground, the deep soil of what your soul is here to kind of create and birth and also metabolize and fertilize. So, yeah, I think there's a way in which through my own journey of kind of like responding to the call of soul, noticing what it means, like when I sense with soul and listen through soul, it's relating with something that feels like source. And that soul and source almost come into a kind of creative love affair. It's like sometimes, and the gendering is so like it's all over. Like the yin and the yang are always in dynamic kind of like interplay, but it does feel like there's a way in which like soul wants to penetrate source, and there's a way in which source then suddenly penetrates soul, and it's like, whoa, now soul is wanting to like grow and gestate and then like birth. Like it's very, yeah, it feels so cosmically, like it feels so cosmically natural. So yeah, and I feel like this is the kind of this language and this framing just isn't, yeah, it's not a metaphor that we bring into mainstream entrepreneurial or kind of like work culture. Like maybe if you're an artist, you kind of have a little bit more of this very embodied, even much more mystical way of relating with how vision moves through you. Um, but yeah, mostly it's like, things appear, but we don't actually come back to what it means for folks to actually kind of like feel into the truth of why it's like what it is that wants to come through it. And it gets lost in the noise of capitalism. It gets lost in the noise of, well, I'm doing it to survive. And it gets lost in the noise of just all the other reasons that you do something that isn't actually connected to that deep desire, like the kind of like, this makes it possible for me to live fully my life and devote myself to this work. Um, so I mean, that all said, it's like, it's going to take so many, like the niche that I'm exploring with my collaborators through the Source Keepers Guild is that, there's many folks who tune into their purpose and then kind of from that sense of purpose, create and cultivate that creative life force. Um, that might be wanting to be a really good father, actually. That might be, um, yeah, it's like being a blues musician, and that's like what calls you forward. The reason why I'm saying all this to say, like, and then there's like a particular niche that I'm calling in with my collaborator Tucker and also others, which is we all feel like we're sourcing a culture. It almost feels like we're co-sourcing. It's like when I tap into my soul work, and when I'm relating with source, what I'm receiving is instruction around how to be in relationship with others to birth something that I can't birth alone. And that's very different. That's like suddenly the complexity of it and the um yeah, the entanglement of it makes it very clear that, okay, how then do we find the others who also have that particular soul signature, who also feel like, oh, I'm participating in birthing this new culture. It's not the culture, but it's like, oh, you can kind of feel the common resonance. So the guild is really kind of like, yeah, a field that's bringing together folks who feel that particular resonance towards what we call sacred world, um, and feel that sense of already deeply aligned commitment to it. It's like my soul has already said yes. It's not even a question. It's like I've already said yes to this. And then now I've found the others. And I look at the invitation and it's just, there isn't a lot of, yeah, you just recognize yourself in it. You recognize your soul in it. So that's what I'm building with others. And it's really odd because it feels really specific and really particular. And the thing that I hope might inspire others is that others might build guilds as well. Like we're building a guild because we're inspired by our friends at Life Itself, Sylvie and Rufus, because they created a guild pattern. But I think it's almost like this cohering structure. It's like more than, oh, we're going to be in a field of presencing. It's a little bit more, we're actually in a field of creation. We're going to build together, make together, and we're going to commit to the relationships that makes that possible. And yeah, so basically this guild is not all source keepers. I think everyone is a source keeper, but it's a very particular kind of source keeper who sings the same song. Um, yeah.
Mhm. Thank you for sharing. Mm, makes sense. Okay. Okay. Is I'm just curious, is there anything that like what is your biggest challenge at the moment as the source keeper of this project?
I mean, in a very straightforward way, my biggest challenge is around money. So I love that
Mm.
deep diving into source power money because there's almost this sense of it's so, and I don't think this is coming from illusion or hubris. Like I do feel like there's a pattern for a different kind of economying that's possible. And that's especially made possible through fields of like people, souls who are very attuned to what they're here to source and will just create it because that's what they're here to create. And they're not doing it because someone else is telling them to, or because that's kind of what you have to do in the system. It's like, oh, I'm sourcing a part of this new culture because I feel the value in it. And it's that sometimes we talk about valueception. It's like the perception of value. It's like value that is, yeah, that feels like I will do this even, I will do this no matter what. Like I will make this art even if I don't get paid for it. So I think there's that quality, but then what happens is, and then you still have to live in the world and pay rent and cover expenses and yeah, there's like support your family and there's just really basic livelihood needs that you were describing. And I feel like there's almost something like I'm feeling it in myself and I'm feeling it in the network. It's time to bridge that gap where we can truly believe enough in the value of what we're attracted to in such a way that we're also like almost like we're just able to express it and transmit it so that the money and resources that it actually takes to bring it into reality can just flow. And I think some of that is almost the practice of becoming that receptor site. Like it's like asking for what you like being very precise and asking for what you need. And then also, yeah, there's something also that's about and then when the money comes, it becomes real and you're responsible in a different way too. And yeah, I think there's like, I noticed that with this guild, money is actually very much at the center of it because it's basically also a kind of resourcing infrastructure. It's a mutual aid and it's a mutual aid fund and also like a way for other sources of funding to move in. And yeah, it's bringing up a lot about money and how, yeah, it's like how we actually want to relate with money in a way that is liberating and compassionate and healing, but also very creative. So yeah, it's the challenge that we're facing, but it also feels like almost like it's the creative challenge as well. Like it can feel weighty, like, oh, we have to figure out how to fundraise, da da da, or it can be like, oh, this is why we're doing this work. It's to really kind of like work at the soul riddle of this. Like I think there is a way to transmute relationship with money um, in such a way that we can kind of that we can create. But yeah, that's I hope to bring that right into this container. I mean, that's largely also why I said yes. You were describing how you started this kind of for your own development. And I also feel like I'm saying yes to this because this is my research. This is the living inquiry in me.
Mm. Yes, yes, yes. And I think just to add on this, if I look at my own journey with money, I was able to, in a way, be an entrepreneur and sell courses and get paid. But I still think structurally, um, there could be other ways. And when we were together working on that inside Participation Mystique in the money working group, I think I got a glimpse of what else could be possible when we attune to how can I say, like unexpected sources of abundance. Um, money that is wanting to come to us, um, like it's waiting for our alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Is yeah, it sounds maybe mysterious, but I had a feeling of infinite possibility when I was working that project, just how easy in a way it was to raise the money we raised because we asked,
Mm,
and our asking was truthful and honest and genuine and sincere.
mm,
um
yeah.
and it was not about proving our worth to our sponsors. It was about the trust that they had in our inherent value.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's radical. It was like there was a sense of like family money moving. When you ask someone from your family, they will not question what's your business model, but they will give it because they love you. So but these were not family members. But there was like a kinship. Yeah, there was this beautiful intergenerational dance happening. Anyways, I think
Mm,
I'm still very inspired by what we did, and also how we held, like how we kept holding the money as like this is special money.
sacred. Yeah.
And like magical money, and we were very careful with how we wanted to move. And I think all the little rituals we did, to pass the money forward, um, just bring me a lot of joy, like thinking that I was part of it. So
Mm,
um,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm so present with yeah, there was so much beauty and it was like really relating with money as an art. Um and we were working with yeah, there was this sense of because it was asked for from love, given with love. Like it's like if you it felt like holy water. Like it was just like, wow, this is blessed. And then it will bless whoever else that the money moves to. And I think I felt kind of like the archetype of the way it's almost like the shape in me that wants to give and knows how money, like money that is sourced from love, asked for from love, and moves with love. Like I think there's some sense of with you, Amanda, it's like we know how that feels. We know what that it's like our bodies know what is worth giving to. And yeah, I think there is something about as you were sharing too, it's like I really want to honor also our friend Nick Shore, who was very much at the like origin point of a lot of our money experimentation and venturing. And I think he really did leave an imprint for both of us and into the field around being more dynamic and soulful and kind of free with money. Felt very catalytic in a lot of ways. And it's like whatever I'm doing now with money feels like it kind of like has an imprint of that. Like, I don't know, it feels kind of like a masculine signature actually in it from him in a way. So I imagine that's also part of this field.
Yes, yes. I think just um there's something about like young, um you know, when we compare yin and yang, one of the qualities of yang is uh, aggression, but like in a way that when yin wants to preserve and like, you know, it's very conservative. There's something about that this masculine like risking and, you know, the stock market is just like this very aggressive ups and downs and just I think that's a little bit of what I uh, got from my learning experience with Nick. Just like this, it almost like that fire of like taking
Mm.
risks and believing that like money will do its thing and no one will die. I don't know. It just feels like there was like an inherent safety that was not dependent on money because we get to play with money, we get to go see up and down, we're gonna still be alive no matter what. Just yeah, because I don't know, I there's a part of me who still believes that like money is my survival. It's just like if I don't have it in my bank account then I'm dead, but that's just not true. um so yeah, I think I have that. I really admire that sense of, and I started seeing in another way. Like I started
Mm.
seeing like, oh, that's how a magician will work with money, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, magician, an alchemist, an artist. It's very, yeah, a creator.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
All right. I wonder if is there anything else we want to share at this point? Um,
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I was noticing that, the series is called Source Money Power, but it also feels like I also hear Soul Money Power.
mm,
Uh, the reason why I'm naming it is because like we are also entering the territory of coming closer to soul and being with what is most true and almost like yeah, where your deepest longing like expresses itself and is naked in a way. So I think so there's something like that that's like, okay, we're like really honoring the tenderness of this journey. And then on the other side of that polarity, it's also like, and then play and experimentation. And it's like there is something about it's like almost remembering that our soul work kind of chooses the right melodramas for us to grow and develop and have the most fun in life as well. So even I think that's why like it's like I suffer a lot as a creator and as an artist. Like there's like something I have a little bit of a tortured artist in me, but also I love it. It's like I like the way it feels. I'm choosing it. And I think the difference between like a kind of chosen, like really consciously knowing that you're choosing and saying yes to this, even when it gets hard, and you have to like make fundraising asks or all the things that it's just like, oh, I don't want to do this. Um, I feel like there's something about coming back into alignment with choice and the yes suddenly allows, yeah, like the spaciousness of play to show up. How can I be curious about this? Like, why is this happening? Isn't that weird that I'm sending this love letter to someone to ask for money for my art project? Like, it's just like, whoa, that's weird. That's fun. Let's do it.
yes. I recently saw an interview with Elisa Liu, the skater, the ice skater. And she was saying that struggling makes her feel alive. Like the constant, like how many times she has to fall in the ice, like trying to do a jump, and she just really enjoys the process. And that was so enlivening to hear because that's also what this work is about. Like it's really hard, and the struggle makes us feel alive. It's
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so for
And I
those of
just want to
you
say,
who
and when it's no longer making you feel alive, rest. Like it's like no one's gonna die. Like that. Like I mean, and unless someone actually will die, in which case, it's like it's a different kind of stakes, but with
Mhm.
creativity and art and making it
Yeah,
that way. Yeah.
yeah, we're not doctors, so when there's yeah, I think we get to play. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so for those of you who already registered, we look forward to meeting you. We see a lot of names that we don't know, so we are very curious to meet you and see where you're at and listen to your questions and longings. And yeah, I think with that, we'll close for now.
Yeah. Thank you, Amanda, for making this offering and inviting me in. And I'm excited. I look forward to what unfolds.
Thank you. I'll stop the recording.